Hello, I'm Tim Rogers. You are watching Kotaku.com, and today I am playing Oninaki, the latest game published by Square Enix, developed by Tokyo RPG Factory, which I like to think of as a sort of a pet project for Square Enix. It's a tiny little studio that makes these tiny little old school, old-fashioned, sort of old and crusty games, we could call them. Games for old people like me and possibly like you. These games are very reminiscent of games from the 1990s, almost painfully so. I was able to encounter, I did a little bit of research before I sat down to play this game and mess around with it, hopefully for your delight. And I saw a lot of critical negativity from the youngsters out there who review video games surrounding Tokyo RPG Factory's first two games, I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, which are two difficult games to recommend to somebody at a bus stop. When I was a kid, we used to recommend video games at bus stops because how are you going to explain how to spell Setsuna, especially when everybody pronounces it differently in every YouTube video that I watched? I did a little bit of research. I watched the first 10, 15 seconds of a lot of YouTube videos about this game, and a whole lot of them, I think I heard about 15 different pronunciations of Oninaki. I'm giving you a rock-solid guarantee that the name of this game is pronounced Oninaki, not Oninaki or Oninaki or Oninaki. It's pronounced Oninaki, in case you needed to know that. Now, Tokyo RPG Factory, if I recall correctly, their official website, at the top of the website, you see a picture of the backs of two children sitting in front of a glowing CRT television with some sort of hammy words juxtaposed on top of them. And I believe those words are, off the top of my head, and I'm hoping I get this correct. I'm stalling because I'm trying to think of the words exactly as they are formed. And I think it's, "Countless adventures captivated us when we were kids. Now it's time for us to return the favor with adventures of our own." And I think there's a comma after the word "now." I'm gonna put the image on top of this video while I say that, just so we know for sure if I'm right. Now, when they say, now it's time for us to return the favor with adventures of our own, and when they say countless adventures captivated us when we were kids, I'm a little curious about what games it was exactly that captivated them. And here it is for me. I'm being perfectly honest. I played Paladin's Quest after I played Final Fantasy VI, and I convinced myself I liked it. I walked into Paladin's Quest saying, this is the game I'm going to like. Lennis, as it was called in Japan. Paladin's Quest. I convinced myself I liked Lagoon because it was the only RPG that they had at the video store. I played Tecmo's Secret of the Stars. I beat Brain Lord and Soul Blazer. To put this in a way that, what do you call somebody who's younger than a millennial? To put this in a way that sub-millennials would understand. Lisa Simpson coffee JPEG. Me, that bland stuff. I like that bland stuff. I have put 20 hours into this game, if not more. I don't know. It doesn't have a clock in it. Have you noticed that video games don't have a clock in them sometimes? For two reasons. Number one reason is either they don't want people to beat the game and then tell their friends it was short. And then number two is they don't want people to look at the timer and think, oh my god, I've spent so much time with this game. That's Dragon Quest Builders 2 doesn't give you a timer for that reason, because they don't want you to feel like a worthless schlub who's just spent a million years playing a video game. And I think this game doesn't have a timer because they're foreseeing some haters saying that the game is too short. So far what I've played, it feels about the right length. So now that I've let this video go on for far longer than 30 seconds, you're probably wondering, do I like the game? And the answer is, I played about 20 hours of it. What does that mean? I mean, surely I have done some things I dislike for 20 hours or more, though this was fairly painless. I've been having a really good time with it. Also, now that this video has gone on for longer than 30 seconds, I'll tell you, don't just take my word for this game's goodness. You can just download a free demo of it. There's a demo on both the PlayStation Network and Steam and the Nintendo Switch. So you're probably also wondering, what is this game about? And that's a very good question. Oninaki tells the story of ninja cops jurisdictionalizing the space between the world of the living and the unknown afterlife. Your work involves mass assassination of monsters and also spiritually counseling souls who can't let go of earthly attachments. In other words, in a world where humans have proven the afterlife is real, yet cannot prove that reincarnation happens, you play the part of a traveling, demon-possessed ghost therapist with a sword. It's like Never Let Me Go meets Naruto. I memorized that. I wrote that down in a Sublime Text document, and then I memorized that. Here I am in the central town of the game. It has a name. I think it has 2 names, actually. Anyway, your ninja cops operate out of this place. It's sort of an Arabian Nightsian 1001 nocturnal Kingslandios, wind-swept, babbling brook, tinkling river-sounding, desert kingdom metropolis city. In the world of this game, the afterlife has been proven. It's proven that ghosts exist. We can actually find ghosts if we wander around the town. And everyone believes in reincarnation. So there's a space between life and death. And my character is a watcher, and he can actually pierce the veil, or cross the veil, as they call it. If I just press the L2 button. Senkai watari suruzo means we shall cross worlds. Notice my butterfly turned into a little girl. That's her. That's my little girl who was once a butterfly. Life shows up in gold. You can see the trees. Beautiful color palette in this game. So here's a ghost. I can talk to this ghost. I love, speaking of 90s references, I really just love how the dialogue boxes look like a Winamp skin or like a line background. So the dead will give you tasks, errands that they wish you to do for them so that they can leave this world in peace. So the watchers are able to talk to the spirits, the ghosts of the dead. And they know that the ghosts go somewhere once they are at peace with having left the world, though they don't know where they go. However, some governmental body in this world mandates a belief in the afterlife and subtly enforces this rule that no one is allowed to grieve for death, which on paper is a pretty cool world-building premise. It's steeped in some old religious lore. Very meaningful and different. Having said that, a lot of this just translates into the game having really long segments where they talk at you for 15, 20 minutes at a time. And you know, whatever. What does the game play like? I didn't actually know, because I only saw a preview for this game, and I assumed that Square Enix has had so many previews of so many games, so many trailers over the years that have shown gameplay that looks like action, and then it turns out it's not. I'm thinking about Final Fantasy XIII. So when I saw the dynamic, flowing, loud action combat in the trailer for Oninaki, I figured, that's probably just some cinematic sort of thing, right? Well, it turns out it's not. Oninaki is what would happen if Final Fantasy's mom let them play Diablo and Dota. It plays kind of like Diablo, except you don't get to have a friend. I would say Oninaki feels like Diablo for people who don't want someone else to help them. And I suppose I'm going to show you a little bit of that combat, and I think you're going to like it. I'm going to go out and get us into some fights, because I believe you're going to want to see what the fights are like. So here we are on the world map. Really brings me back to the old days. This world map is extremely high definition, by the way. I was playing it on my 4K television at home, and it's just... You can also pierce the veil while you're here. Just a nice, high definition, fine hand-drawn map. Brings me back to the old days, you know? Oninaki really brings back the feeling of the old days. Let's put it this way. Oninaki is the Square Enix you know and love. If you know and love Legend of Mana, Threads of Fate, Saga Frontier 2, Radiata Stories, Secret of Evermore, Evo, The Search for Eden, Valkyrie Profile 2, Robo Trek. I'm just listing lesser-known Square and Enix games at this point. One thing that I find funny is that the Tadan Plains have the Raum Meadows inside them, and the Kiro Marsh has the Sook Fens. And the Teppo Ruins has the Lost Town. Why does everything have two things that kind of sound the same in it? There's a bit of a nomenclature problem in the fiction of this game. Maybe we don't need to get into that. I'm going to take you to the Sook Fens. It took me forever when I first... Some of the UI is unclear, and some of the tutorials tutorialize the heck out of extremely minute things and then don't explain the simple things. Like, the world map tutorial didn't tell me to click on the little thumbnail image. Like, I hammered the button on here, like, it's not working, it's not working. You gotta actually click here. It's a little annoying. We're actually gonna take us all the way back to here. So I'm gonna show you what's up, and hopefully you're gonna like it. I'm gonna leave this loading screen in. This is how long a loading takes. It takes about this long between zones. Sometimes there's loading screens, like, in the middle of a cutscene, and it's just, it gets a little frustrating. So here I am in a zone. I find this to be just the most visually impressive zone. Here's the minions. Now, I call them minions both because they're an attempt at cuteness, like the minions in the movie Minions, and also they're, in very MOBA terms, they're very minion-esque. They just charge dumbly and they will hit you. They're boring. And now these guys over here fire some cannonballs. So the way I fight is I have demons. I have a demon that is connected to me. Is that a JoJo reference? I don't know. A lot of video games now have demon characters that are connected to you. Let's try to list a couple. Astral Chain, most recently. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that one definitely has demon characters connected to you. Blue Dragon. Okage Shadow King. I just took a shot in the face. And of course there's Persona. So this guy, if you get up close to him, look at this. He just doesn't hit you. I like doing this sort of thing in games. I like just kind of messing around. So, you have abilities in this game. And as you'll notice, I have my 4 abilities mapped to little hotkeys. These are unlockable in a skill tree, and they're your MOBA moves on cooldown. So let's try this Gale Slash. That does a big double slash, and that killed almost all of those guys. What about this one? Setting Firebird does a shockwave, which affects just one enemy. Sundering Flash does a 1-2. Does a lot of damage. Now I'm just kind of eating damage here because I'm not fighting. I'm not fighting well. And I also have a dash. Now her dash does not teleport through enemies. It does make you invincible. I need my demon in order to influence me. The demon has possessed me, in case that were not obvious. Now I can also cross between zones here. Look at this, there's monsters here. What if I cross zones? There's still monsters here as well. Different monsters in different zones. Crossing between worlds influences many things on a level. For now, I'm just gonna... So I'm just kind of taking beef loads of damage here. You get a lot of loot in this game. I just received a free crossbow. I don't know if you saw that. It popped up in the upper right corner of the screen. They do that Rockstar thing where the UI stuff pops up in the corner. Up in the upper right corner. You can see it's Sight Stealer found right now. It's barely up there. Sight Stealer's this guy. A big bad. The music will change when I engage him in battle. Haven't really engaged him in battle, but the music's here. So if I cross between worlds while a Sight Stealer is present, and I haven't defeated the Sight Stealer before, I won't be able to see. So you have to defeat these Sight Stealers in order to traverse the worlds. Weirdly, your companions will speak Japanese to you, and you don't really understand what they're saying. I wonder if there's subtitles in a day 1 patch of some sort. But she said, we should use a healing item because my HP ticked down to around 50%. Now, these guys are some real bullet sponges. You got to really hit them a lot. As with any MOBA, when you originally get into the game, you want to just learn to get in the habit of using your special moves as much as you can. Now, you have these healing items called Healing Incense. You just press up on the D-pad to use those. And you can carry up to 5 of those at first, and eventually the capacity increases as you play. Upper right corner, see, I just got a sword stone, so that may have been the purpose of my engaging this guy in battle. You get stones when you're fighting with a certain possessed demon. You'll receive stones which will allow you to unlock things in the skill tree. So let's take a look at the skills. I've got 3 demons here. I don't kill people. I destroy demons. I also am possessed by demons. But you can take a look at her skill tree. Get that big old flash. Skill tree runs at a nice smooth frame rate. Feels slightly smoother than the game, actually, which is weird. So I can unlock these skills. Now let's talk about these skills. Let's talk about them. Let's really talk about these skills here. So you'll see that these are the skills that I can unlock that I can then equip. And I can equip them in my little loadout, my little hotkeys. Now, these are the big ones and the good ones and the cool things. And until you unlock about 2 skills, using one of these demons is just miserable. So I have 6 sword stones right now. It means I can unlock generally about 6 things. This skill here requires 3 sword stones, and it's actually pretty good. You gain more attack the longer you haven't taken damage. So the longer you survive without taking damage, the more damage you do, and that's actually killer. I have unlocked this one on my own save pretty deep into the game, and I don't know what I would be doing without it. And I'm looking at this earlier save that I preserved for the purpose of recording this, and I'm wondering why I didn't just beeline for this, because this thing stacks up real nice. It's a nice skill to have. However, some of these things, you can move or perform an attack to cancel the delay after dashing. Evade for longer when dashing. Okay, evade for longer when dashing. I can see that one. Now, increase the affinity gain when attacks hit. I can tell you what affinity is in a minute. Shifting to Aisha takes less time. Attack to cancel the delay after shifting. Chance to instantly kill when attack hits. Okay, that one's pretty good. Some of these really feel like they could have just been bullet points in game design meetings, not exactly skills for the player to unlock. I mean, let me try to find one that's really egregious. Increase critical hit chance of attacks used to cancel the delay after taking an action. That just kind of, if you are premeditating a use of that, you're kind of on the same wavelength as like a capital criminal at that point. If you're premeditating actions like this in battle, it's a little wild. Increase the power of attacks triggered by canceling the delay after taking an action. The higher your affinity, the greater the effect. Transcendence cost 5 sword stones. Little bit wild, in my opinion. Affinity falls more slowly, always applies when Aisha is in the party. So if she's in your party and you have this, you can actually stack some things up. You can really make a big old BK Stackers sextuple hamburger going on with this. So also you can access your demon memories. Now your demon memories, so the demons are people who died and then were not able to pass into the next world because of some lingering attachment. However, existing in the afterplane or whatever it's called, they don't give it a name, existing on the other side of the veil as a ghost, as a spirit, without being able to be sent to the other world for so long, has resulted in them losing their memories. And only by bonding with, by possessing a watcher, can they then be nurtured toward a remembrance of their lost memories. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to unlock this memory of her after unlocking Fortitude to increase the affinity gained when taking an attack. So it means when I take an attack, I get affinity. That's pretty good, right? I'll tell you what affinity is in a minute. Oh, look at that. Mom, I ranked up my demon. So until you rank a demon up a couple of times, it's as good as useless. It's miserable to have a demon that is not ranked up a little bit. So now I've obtained some demon lore. So what do I do with demon lore? I have to select demon lore to watch it. And in order to do that, I have to be at a save point. So we're going to get to a save point. I wonder if there's one anywhere near here. Conveniently, there's one right here. We're going to get to it in a moment. I'm going to show you a demon that does not have anything unlocked. So this is Dia. Dia is your distance demon. It's a good mnemonic device, Dia the distance demon. She has an attack that you can really hamburger wrangle some... What? Wait, what is this? Pause log? What? Oh my god, I touched the touchpad. Crikey. I was so exuberantly hammering the circle button. So I'm going to show you her noble dream. That's a real big hamburger wrangler of an attack. She's pretty weak, and she does plinky little pot shots. So this is my perfect example of a demon who is just miserable to use until you unlock a couple skills. We're going to see about unlocking a couple of skills for Dia. She does a jump instead of a dash. So every demon is a different playstyle. Sort of like a weapon in Castlevania. It's like a Castlevania MOBA, basically. The save point kindly reminds me that I have a demon lore available, and that I can see it if I would like. Let's take a look at Dia's skill tree first. Does she have any of these? She has one Farshot Stone. So I can obtain a skill. We're going to obtain the skill. Well, I actually can't obtain a skill. I have to unlock something that unlocks a skill. So I have to unlock. And I can either go for, I can unlock her memory. Let's get her memory. Kaboom! We've got one of Dia's memories in the demon lore. That's a pretty good one. I think you're going to like this one. And I'm going to just go ahead and unlock Angel Wings because I want this skill called Dusk. Dusk is wild. So I know that if I can just stick with Dia long enough, you don't get Farshot Stones unless you're using Dia. You don't get stones for a demon unless you're using the demon, which is, I forget what book of the Bible that is. What does Zav have? Zav is extremely miserable until you get some skills. He starts with this meteor skill, and crikey, Zav gets a memory as well. If I can just get to a save point, I can watch his little tiny cutscene, and then I can access this entire edgy Spider-Man comic book art worth of nodes on my demon lore skill tree, demon tree, sphere grid, license board, demon board. So let's take a look at some demon lore. Crikey. Let's take a look at Dia's memory number 1. I hope you're ready for a blast. So when you access a demon lore, you get to see the little fanficky creative writing exercise prompt stories that define the demon's lingering attachment to the world. Now, here's what I just want to say. It's so bright. The white background is just completely wild. It is just... Like, can you see this? I am seeing every floater in my eyes. It is a ticker tape parade inside my vitreous humor. I'd swear to God, my retina has just won World War II. Oh, now it's back. This is kind of like the worst possible Instagram story, IMO. I mean, if the bloom of the rest of the game doesn't blast you hard enough, this'll do it. I mean, TVs today are about 10 times brighter than they were 10 years ago, if you measure them in the number of nits. Literally nitpicking this game here. Now watch this. The worst part of this, and if you want to pay attention to the story, you can go ahead and do that. You can just see it's this little Polly Pocket Shakespeare here for you. It ends on a goddamn white loading screen. I mean, I literally have to wear my sunglasses when I play this game on my TV. That's not even an exaggeration. So, now that I have viewed her demon lore, let's take a look at her skill tree. And it will show me. I've unlocked even more of that. Look at that! And oh, what is this? Another skill. I'll be able to unlock a skill if I can just get through that. I suppose I should have watched the demon lore of the demon that I'm currently using the most.
私たちの自由はすぐに終わりを迎えた。追っ手を前にした私たちは最後の約束を交わした。どこでだっていい。迷いとになっても構わない。ずっと一緒にいられるのなら死さえ厭わない。私たちは笑顔で自らの命を絶った。
Wow. We're going to leave the other demon lores for a minute. I'm going to show you, So you see how if I get a critical hit, the numbers have an exclamation point after them. I gotta admit, I love that. So as you can see, there's some ghosts here. Let's pierce the veil. There's a cutscene happening. So here we go. Oh, critical hits. Just when I thought numbers going up had no effect on me, they go and show me these goddarn numbers with exclamation points after them. That really gets my blood pumping. Brings me back to my pachinko days. Wow. Zab is very slow. You really gotta ham bone these enemies to shred them. I love this beautiful, bloomy, flickery effect going on with the butterfly wings here. We're gonna bring Dia out. Well, I really thought there would be more of these guys. I love cutting through multiple dudes. You know, I've loaded this, I kept this save preserved in its old state so that I could get you back to a place that I think is visually striking to fight in. Though I'm really not used to having Dia here with no abilities unlocked. So you'll notice down in the lower left corner I have a percentage that is well above 100. That's my affinity, which I can use to manifest. When I manifest, I enter this higher state where I do more damage and my attacks and abilities are stronger, recharge faster. You can unlock skills in the skill tree, which all have effects during the manifest state. Let's switch back to Aisha. I want to show you something I love. That crumble animation is fantastic. I think I'm destroying gravestones. They look like gravestones. Well, it is the law in this world to not grieve the dead. Because if you grieve the dead, they remain. Oh, I got a rare spear. So, this Sight Stealer, again, if it's my first time through a level, I won't be able to see. It'll be blackness here if I pierce the veil. However, we're going to go back, and you'll notice that you can still see. So, I'm going to use Dia real quick, because there's a chance of getting a stone from fighting a Sight Stealer. Also, Dia's got this heck of a projectile attack. I'm going to try to get close. I'm not close. Oh my god, This enemy's a beefy boy. He's got a lot of HP. I don't know if Dia quite has what it takes to take this thing down. I would have thought I would have earned a stone of a sort by now. Let's switch to, I'm gonna wake up these mushrooms. I need more of a party here. So as you can see, it's a very chill sort of game. Let's bring Aisha out. Okay, I need to use my healing item. So let's get a Bibi Mimbus going on here. What do we got? 449. That's more like it. Soaring Strike. So the more you use a demon, they get astronomically stronger. So you'll see that I'm able to just really rip these enemies up. And one thing I learned was I stuck with Aisha because I had unlocked enough things with her that when I ended up getting more demons, I was hesitant to use them because they start out so weak, which is why I know what happens when I unlock Dia's new attacks. Dia obtains these monstrously efficacious crowd control techniques that are just incredible for taking down large groups of enemies. That I really want to be able to just get one far shot stone. And I feel like I stand a chance by fighting this guy. I'm going to see if I can obtain it. This is the kind of video coverage this game needs, is to just show you what the experience of playing it is. Because that's what I remember. I don't remember having played this part. I do remember playing it. I don't think I'm going to get a far shot stone out of this. Crikey! Oh my god. Fired it off in the wrong direction. Now notice my affinity is at 200%. Ooh! Oh my god! That was grotesque. I obtained a skill attack. So those are shade stones, as they're called. They're kind of like materia. Oh. I can't believe I didn't get it in the right goddarn direction. So, look how boring this is with just one special maneuver. It's possible I got one of the, I got a far shot stone. No, I didn't. Did not get one. Oh, you can actually see it right there on the menu. I always forget. I just love diving into the skill tree. I can't believe that I didn't get one. It's all I want in the world. Save points heal you, of course. I wonder if there's a boss up here. There probably is, right? I'm gonna switch to Aisha. I wonder if there's gonna be a boss. So notice, watch this. This I find a little weird. I can turn on auto to make the dialogue boxes move automatically. And I can also hold the R1 button to fast forward. I find that very weird that there is a fast forward function in a game that is not a remake or a remaster. Isn't that a little weird? Aren't remakes and remasters, don't they have a... Don't they have fast forward functions so that you can, to address a complaint that maybe the cutscenes were too slow? I find it really weird that a brand new game would have a fast forward function in its cutscenes. It's like the game's like, I made these cutscenes for you, maybe you don't want them though, I don't know. Anyway, this boss is a big boy. He's got a real hamburger inside of his back. And you want to speed away from him. This boss is pretty dynamic and cool looking. I wonder how many critics are going to mention Studio Ghibli. So the reason I want to really look at this boss is I can move over here And I feel like the perspective might be a tiny bit too tight. I think it might be cool if the camera zoomed out a bit. And it's like they're using a lot of graphics. This game was made in Unity. They are using so many particle effects. I love the way that tornado looks. I can't get over how great that looks. And it's made of relatively few polygons. They're getting a lot of mileage out of just a couple of graphics. Did I seriously get hit by that? 346 damage. Wing Thrax is this guy's name. So basically, I have all of these abilities. You got to just be using them all. Now, sometimes my little girl companion will heal me, but only when I'm here in the other dimension. I'm going to try to hit this guy in the butt with my big boy attack. Didn't do it. He's just going to stand up on his legs and walk around like this. You can see he's got some patterns. He's got some patterns. That's how you get him. You just got to be patient. Sometimes especially when you're on a pretty low level, and I'm not really sure how much you're expected to loot and grind before each battle. You can go back and visit every map as much as you want. I'm not sure how much you're expected to loot and grind. There's sometimes you come to these bosses and you feel really under-leveled. And I feel like sometimes the only way to die here is to get bored and take chances that you otherwise would not be prone to take if you were less bored. However, if you come in here more, I don't want to say appropriately leveled, you'll end up just doing a lot more damage and killing this guy in 3 or 4 cycles. I mean, you can just keep hitting him, but if you get too close, you get poisoned. The little girl used a healing incense on me, which is nice. Because I'm not sure. She doesn't, she will implore you to heal yourself. She'll tell you when you're close to death. She'll tell you you need to heal, and then she has the power to heal you with some unlimited stock that is fired off completely by a random number generator. He's just kind of showing me he can walk. That's nice. Get him with this. Do a lot of damage on him that way. What if I cross the veil? Oh, he's here as well. He's in the other world as well. Boss has entered his second phase where he has less than half of his HP left. He closed his back before I could get in there. I'm playing in a cowardly fashion because my HP are low and I only have 2 healing items. Healing items, which you can't purchase, you can only pick up by killing enemies. Or at least if you can purchase them, I never figured out how. And that actually made me get better at the game, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I can just kind of dance with this guy all day. I don't need... Yeah, that does big boy damage. You want to just get him with hamburger handfuls of beef. And hit him right there in the beef big boy back. This weird bearded bug. Wing Thrax. He's got wings and anthrax. Puts him at an unfair advantage. I'm standing recklessly close to him. I almost took damage there. I'm sorry. I've pierced the veil. I've gone to the other side. Crossing to the veil sometimes has advantages in these battles. In this one, not so much. We're going to go to the other side again just because we can. I'm going to hit him with this. That does big boy damage. And then I'm going to pop in. I don't have the ability of hers that I like the most. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you think you were going to win? Wait, what? Sometimes it's hard to aim because the enemy is just off the bottom of the screen. Anytime you can see that big pink weak zone. That's how you know you can do big damage. Uh-oh. Wow, I just barely escaped there. Sorry to alarm everyone. He's cooling off his back. He's giving himself the old air conditioning. Oh, no. Come on. He lived. I meant to kill him with a more spectacular attack. Let's get him. Turn him into roast beef. Oh! Look at those particle effects. Absolutely beautiful. That is just masterpiecely technical art direction there. I got a null stone, so that's actually very good. What is a null stone, you ask? To which I answer, in a Jar Jar Binks impression, how wooed. You don't just ask me what one of those is. So I could have actually gone into my manifestation zone there. And I didn't. I didn't even enter my more powered up zone in order to kill that boss. Because the higher my affinity percentage, the higher my damage, at least with this particular demon. I'm going to die of poison unless I walk over to this save point. Now, what if I told you I was about to show you a different zone where we're a little bit more powered up? Would you like that? Maybe you would. Let's see what happens. What? How did I get here? So we're here in another zone. You'll notice I am now beefed all the way up to level 19. And I've got Izana with a... She has one Sightstone, which is pretty good. I've got 4 demons here in my party. Now, Izana was available to mess around with in the demo, though you don't actually get her until slightly later in the game, and we won't talk about where, why, or how. You'll notice all of my characters have 4 skills, except Izana, who has just been unlocked as of this slightly more recent part of the story. This is slightly closer to where I am in the game right now. So everybody's got a whole bunch of abilities, and I'm just going to show you what kind of wild stuff they can do. There's a big monster. There's a whole bunch of monsters down there. We're going to get Dia out, because Dia can do this. And also, homing shot. Eat that, penguin moron. This. I gotta jump out of the way of that punk. And then, what's this? Shotgun blast, idiot. You're all dead. So, like I said, notice I've got Noble Dream set to my trigger. Because, what? I'm sorry, I got touched by a penguin while You don't want to go toe-to-toe with anybody with Dia, which is why Dia has this jump. You want to make sure you got some distance to do that distance thing. So you got guys coming out of the Nexus here, just coming out. She's got this retreat maneuver. Oh my god! Lord in heaven. Oh my god, it's just so much carnage, it's disgusting. I'm going to show you my... let's take a look at Zav here. Now, Zav is wild. Zav is a big dude with a spear. Check this out. I can just throw him where he does massive damage. Use my Helix maneuver, jump away. Watch this one. I love this one. He'll push dudes back, and then I thrust through. Big numbers of damage. Let's actually hit this guy with the stupidest possible crushing blow. I swing my spear in vain. Anyway, killing those guys is pretty good. Let's actually try out... no, I don't want Zia. I go straight to Dia every time because I love her. Izana is pretty tough. However, Izana relies on getting position. So Izana can warp, and hitting enemies from behind will do more damage. And also, they will give you a speed bonus every time you do that. Click on the left analog stick to make the minimap much bigger, in case you love big mini-maps the way I do. Oh, big numbers on this stupid little penguin. I just murdered that penguin slowly. Let's pierce the veil. I've pierced the veil. Let's see what Aisha's got. I like that. You can kind of minionize her a little bit, have her march toward the enemies and hurt them. That maneuver was wasted on that tiny little Bibi-Mimbus penguin because the penguin is weak. I'm going to cut this guy a new butthole. Here we go. I got hit? No, you don't want to hit me, big boy. I'm just charging in there because I'm a big idiot. So yeah, you get the abilities. You MOBA it up. Again, it's like, do you want all the thrills of attacks with cooldowns without having to worry about opponents or friends? I mean, I sort of do. It makes me feel like I'm having a good time. The brain chemicals are nice. I dashed out and still got hit by him. Big boy has something to prove. I staggered him. Staggering enemies is pretty nebulous. I just stood there and let myself get bombed. I'm playing recklessly because I've tasted power. Let's bring Zav back out. I love Zav's windmill attack. She said there's monsters, be careful. He's the sight stealer, so we're going to go ahead and make sure he knows that I'm in charge. Turn the map down to the small size because we don't need the... Oh, he's staggered. And he's just straight up dead now. And I obtained a Chirurgeon. Chirurgeons are good because it's just a weapon that you get 1,000,000 of. It wouldn't be a looty blasty sort of RPG without getting 1,000,000 things that you don't actually need and just juicing up on them. Oh, give me that homing shot. Just going to use one of those. I'm just going to stand here and take 1,000,000 damages. Treasure chests that regenerate when you exit and come back to a zone. It's a paralyzed... Wow, I can't believe all 3 of those dudes lived. Well, except now they're all dead. I mean, Dia will just go hog wild. And I didn't show you what Manifestation does, so let's just show you. Manifestation turns on the music. Just really turns it on. That's basically what Manifestation's for. It's for turning on the music. Get him! Now, when you're manifested, you also you get a lot of bonuses. A lot of bonuses that you might otherwise not pay attention to. I missed. So the bonuses are things that you'll see in the skill tree. It'll say bonus while manifested. Got another Chirurgeon. Lord, I have a lot of those. It's a type of crossbow. And I'm just going to kill all of you guys with this. Yeah, I have a good time making things die when I'm all charged up. Totally wired. Drank a jar of coffee, as it were. My boys are pumped. Or should I say my girls. I have one male demon attached to my soul right now. I was going to go back to the town, though I don't really want to let this music, just chill out here by itself. You don't want to leave a tune hanging. I mean, you kind of just want to kill stuff when this sort of music is pumping, right? I mean, normally you would be manifesting your demon in a very, very aggressive scenario. However, my pride earlier required me to defeat that boss without that aggressive power. We're going to go ahead and pop on back to the main world map. Now I'm going to chill you on back down to the town, and then we're going to chill ourselves out. Another loading time. If only someone would prioritize a game console that got rid of loading times. So Suzaka has Dido. That's important to know. And I'm going to fast travel myself here. Because you know what? I'm not going to fast travel myself up to number 3. That's what a narc would do. And I may be a demon-possessed, ghost-detecting ninja cop. However, I ain't no ghost narc. And we're back in the town. Beautiful babbling brook metropolis here. I almost said babbling book. So, at some point in the game, you unlock the ability to talk to the alchemist. I'm going to tell you, the alchemist is really the only person in town I feel like I can talk to, if you know what I mean. So I can transmute, I can upgrade weapons. So I can take a weapon that has been equipped, and I can add a couple of things to it, right? Basically, you use weapons to feed weapons, right? I don't know how it works. So you feed a weapon with the weapon, and then eventually, said weapon reaches level max. Now, what all does that mean? Heck if I know. I'm upgrading this one right here. It has 1 Shadestone slot. See, I don't know. You upgrade the weapons. We're going to actually upgrade this Fudogiri. And we're going to upgrade it with a couple of these. It's an uncommon weapon, so we're going to... I think that's a good one. And there you go. I'm going to upgrade it with the options button. And we're just going to say that's tasty. Yeah, let's do it. So basically, it's just a very clean reduction of otherwise complicated loot economies that you might find in other games. And I got a skill affinity and a skill attack Shadestones. So you can put the Shadestones into the weapon. So we go in here. And what Shadestone do I want to put in? I have all of these. And if you use one, it becomes slotted in the weapon. And then you can't take it out. However, there's a chance that it comes out when you use the weapon to upgrade another weapon. So you're just going to be burning through these things. Increase defense when HP is low. Increases defense when manifested. Facilitates gaining affinity. You got to choose these. These are rare ones. And of course, I'm an old school RPG player. I arrived at the end of Final Fantasy VI having never used an elixir, and I never will use an elixir in Final Fantasy VI, I promise. So I'm never going to use those rare ones. You just can't. Until the game tells me this is the best possible weapon you can get. So, I mean, I don't know which one of these I'm going to put in here. I'm going to think about it later. I believe that in my current save, I actually didn't put anything into that weapon. What about transmuting? Well, let's find out about transmuting, right? Oh, it looks like I can... Okay, come on. I can transmute my weapons and Shadestones into new items. So this is actually pretty tasty. We're going to go ahead and not do that right now, because that's getting a little bit too deep. The game is positively bursting with mechanical technicalities, so gregarious they border on egregious. And you know what? I've played this game for 20 hours. I've had a good time. Is it my favorite game in the world? I don't know. I played it for 20 hours. It's an old school game for old school people. It's got this music that reminds me of browsing CDs at the Barnes & Noble music section circa 1996. Some critics, when they review this game, are probably going to say it has bad pacing. And you know what I'd say to that? I'd say, I mean, sure, maybe it does have bad pacing. Or maybe it's just unconcerned with modern conventionalities of pacing. I'd say it in that nice, friendly way. I'm defending myself for having spent 20 hours with this game. It takes a while to get to any of its twists. It's a slowly unfurling tapestry, deliberately paced. It really does remind you of this simpler time of simpler games. Now, were we simpler players with simpler demands back then? Were we children? Were we Bibby Mimbus, Dumpy Chubbus, Babby Bubbus, Bubby Bumbus, Dumbinos? I mean, maybe. And are we giving Tokyo RPG Factory a little bit too much credit if we say that that's the experience they want to harken back to? And again, I ask you to remember that image on their homepage of the backs of two children sitting in front of the warm glow, basking in a CRT television. Countless adventures captivated us when we were kids. Now it's time for us to return the favor with adventures of our own. Maybe they really are trying to remind me more of Legend of Dragoon than Final Fantasy VII. Maybe they really are trying to remind me more of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles than Final Fantasy VIII. Maybe they really did make a game that is for people who remember Grand Stream Saga, Legend of Legaia, and Thousand Arms. I mentioned Soul Blazer earlier. It kind of does remind me of Soul Blazer in a weird way. I'm now starting to wonder if I should have scripted a whole video comparing this game to Soul Blazer. At the very least, the number one thing that I miss most about Soul Blazer was that music that looped in the first dungeon. It has been trapped in my head for like almost 30 years. Where the heck is thisismyjam.com when we need it most, am I right? Because you know what? Those games contributed to my understanding of video games at least as much as Final Fantasy VI did. At least as much. I owe all of those RPGs that I played in search of the diamonds in the rough as much as I owe the diamonds that I found in the rough. And for that alone, I'm going to give Oninaki a pass. Not that I am in the habit of giving scores. I know that every time I post a video of a game, I get comments from people that are just, this is the most boring type of comment, is to say, this doesn't look like a $60 video game. It's like, yeah, okay. I mean, all video games go on sale eventually, unless they're made by Nintendo. This game's going to be $20 someday. I hate to do anything so bold as to give you fiscal advice, though. This game will be $20 someday, and I believe it's launching at $49.99 instead of the usual $59.99. And I think I can tell you why. I think it's probably sort of short. I feel like I'm close to the end in my main save file, without spoiling too much. A whole lot of really dark stuff happens in the plot of this game. Wildly dark stuff. I would show you the wildly dark stuff if Square Enix wouldn't jump down my throats. They've got a part of the game beyond which they told me not to capture anything story related. Let me just tell you, a whole lot of dark stuff happens, just like life. However, I know that no matter how much dark stuff is yet to come in my own life, that while I was born stupid, however, I will not die hungry. Video games forever. Kotaku.com.